You know, I'm just sitting here having a conversation, and in the conversation, it was revealed that this individual, their friends would have chose them over God. Like, to them, he was even a better friend than God would have been. Okay? And this person that I'm speaking of, the sad thing is, they not once really, truly ever considered the fact that they actually did have people that cared for them more so than they even cared for God. And to them, he would have been a much better friend, and they would definitely have chose him to be a friend over God. And yet, that person really doesn't and did not ever consider or even ponder on the fact that to somebody, to some, they were meaningful, and they actually were more popular than even God. And what makes a person unable to even see that? Lots of different things. But when you really think about that, and maybe we're all guilty of this at times, because what happens? We do get stuck inside of our carnal minds. And we do get stuck in drama and discord and just all different shit that's going on. And then because people love to have their noses up in everybody else's business, finding out what's going on, they just, it's just like what they do. They're just consumed by it. It just becomes like, I'm thinking, honestly, that there have been individuals out there that were so much more consumed with things going on, being spoken of with me, than even I was with things going on with me. Okay? So that's almost like along the same concept in a small way as like, so now not only are you like consumed by somebody else that you feel what makes a person have to be so centered and focused on somebody else to the point that they have to know who a person's talking to, what they're doing, and then it doesn't really matter. See, with people like this that do these things, this is the scary part, okay? Because see, these people do these things like monitor and track because inside they have an insecurity and they feel the need, they're on a need to know basis. Like they need to know what's going on with you and about you and everything of you, because they need to play like God and see if that's acceptable or not acceptable, or if that's something they like or not like. And, also control is a big thing. And when people have issues with needing to know and having to manipulate things in a way that they like actually start to invade and violate somebody else's life. And, Okay, so let's skip back. And this is even a topic, I don't even think this came up yet. But one of the things that I had heard was, that there was somebody who really, really loved and cared about me. Now, based off of what? Because, see, now, those people that were ever around me and the man that I formerly was involved with, and his name was Micah, I want to know how, I have a feeling that everybody that was one of his friends, except for the exception of two people that I can say we did not ever get into an argument, disagreement, or fight in front of. But pretty much everyone else that I ever met has been a witness to horrendously abusive behavior on not just my behalf, but on his as well. Like, they have been a witness to two very dysfunctional human beings that were running around with each other, claiming to be each other's significant other, okay? And in love. Like, this man was claiming that I was his old lady and this was my girl, or I'm sorry, he would say youngin', this is my youngin', and that this is, who I love. And some of the behaviors and some of the things that were witnessed, let's just put it this way. I am sure that people have had lots of stories or gossip that they could share with one another about certain things that they heard, certain things that they saw, maybe about how many times they probably saw me with a black eye. I mean, who knows? People may have had bets, like how much you want to bet when she comes back around, she's going to have a black eye. Or maybe you heard me threaten his life. Or maybe you saw me physically restrain him. Or you saw me with a weapon in my hand pointed at him. However, those things that I just described that you could have been a witness to, first of all, what's wrong with that? And on the same note, this is what I'm telling you, right? But this is what is being said in my ear, that this man really loved and cared for me, that I lied about this man taking me and holding me captive for a few days and literally wouldn't let me leave and had my keys and had my phone. Oh, and anybody that it was friends with him and saw me during that period of time, I'm sure that they all probably agreed on one thing. She didn't look like no captive. She seemed all right. She could have left at any time. Oh, really? Did you know that my car keys were in his pocket? And if my car keys weren't in his pocket, he was sure to have my phone. Yeah. And then he had all of his shit that he pretty much tried to, like, take over the car. And that don't even matter. Did you think I looked normal? Like, did you think that I looked like my usual? Would you think of me, or did I appear as a woman that really wanted to be there and was in love with that man? Or did you not hear, like, bickering off and on the whole time, like bickering, all kinds of, you didn't hear, like, or did you hear that, but or did you witness some behaviors on my end? But to you, they're probably normal, because when haven't you seen me bickering with him? When haven't you seen me, like, maybe flipping out or something? Like, when haven't you seen me be so dysfunctional, I should say? I mean, it probably was more weird to actually see me not being dysfunctional with them. I mean, because for the most part, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm sure that, you, like I said, you could all agree, she didn't look like she was being held captive, and she could have left at any time. Oh. Well, I'll tell you what. Have you guys ever tried to get away from him? Have you ever got to a point where you just were like so tired of being around him, you just wanted him to leave? And like he just wouldn't go? And like maybe you were given hints and he just wouldn't go? Well, imagine it like 100 times even worse than that. Than him just like sitting there twiddling his thumbs when he used to go and hang out up at Whitehall, and you could tell it was kind of getting to near after hours and everybody kind of just wants to do their own thing, and he just wants stand there doing nothing. That's what I used to say to him. What? Sitting there doing nothing, just twiddling your fucking thumbs, and we're just supposed to sit here all night for what? See, a big thing that used to happen and take place a lot was not only was my mind, was it being worked on to be manipulated into believing that I had a significant illness that was putting me at risk for being able to function and live on my own. But the people that were around, not just myself, but around him, because of everything, that the way he would say things and the information that he would share. Which, another thing, if you really loved and cared for somebody, are you going to just feel so comfortable exploiting them to everybody that you meet as a lunatic? And if you would be okay with that, ask yourself why. But even if you would be okay with that, are you going by what you think is all right? Do you even wonder if like that person wants everybody to think of them as a lunatic? Like maybe let people make up their own judgments based off of what they get? I mean, I'm just wondering, okay? But minds were being manipulated and groomed in a sense. So when you would see me, you would associate me with mental ward or nut hut. And then you would associate me with baddie and like a lunatic. And that pretty much you can't take anything that I say seriously because I'm a lunatic. Okay? And, but do you understand that when you, for the most part, are being manipulated and groomed to view something in a certain way based not only off of what society standards has taught you, but just based off of certain things that you might have experienced, okay? Like those of you that witnessed some horrendous knockdown, toxic fights that went on and occurred between me and Micah, would you really, how are you going to take me seriously? Like, how are you going to not think that I am a crazy, out of control woman? That I am like out of my fucking mind? Okay? I totally get that. Now, can you understand there's a concept that occurs. There's a process, actually, that goes on, okay? And it's called Stockholm Syndrome. And it's a very real thing. And it's basically like sympathy for the devil. But it goes even greater than that, okay? Because Stockholm Syndrome ends up as a result of you have somebody that has infiltrated your existence and your life and has pretty much posed themselves and has placed themselves into your life, whether they're wanted there or not, as God and head over you. And now, not only are they going to impose themselves into your life as a God-like force that's going to have dominion over you, it's also going to go out of its way unknowingly to not only you, but even unknowingly to the man behind the mask, so to speak. So let's put it this way. It's so true. Human beings can become unconsciously doing things to their own destruction and sabotage and not even realize it. For instance, one of the things that Micah did do was, let me just ask you that know him well and have known him pretty much his whole adult life. What is his history when it comes to certain things, like women? Has it not been, let's say, horrendously horrible at times? And crazy? And some of the most insane stories probably have happened as a result of one of his relationships, okay? So the man had a thing for crazy chicks. Yeah, really. And there's a good reason why. Well, number one, any sane, normal woman with confidence and self-respect and self-worth is not ever going to tolerate not only the control mechanisms, and let me tell you what, if this woman also had a normal job or any income that was significant and she was an independent woman, she would not ever, 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 ever put up with that. I mean, not in a million years. And even women that may not be financially independent, but if a woman has her mind and her head on correctly, and she's not being led astray by all these other falsehoods and distractions and just the shit show called life sometimes, and she can actually look at things for what they are, most would not want to be in a situation like that. Most would flee. I mean, the first time, yeah, and guess what? Even moi tried to flee and end things with him multiple times. I don't know how many times you all probably remember him coming to you sad and down and out, and it was the end of the world, and I ran off and had a crazy fit, and blah, 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 blah. Well, what do you expect? I mean, for Christ's sakes, you pick a bunch of bipolar, schizophrenic, mental health, nut hut type ladies, and then you don't expect to bitch and moan about their craziness and drama. Oh, and no. Like, this is what you don't get, okay? And I don't know, maybe here's the big, what is that? With the lights, like the flashing sign saying, this is the main point. See, he knows what he's doing. And when he comes and he bitches and complains, he's in his glory. He loves that. Why? Because if he didn't, he would do something differently and put his foot down and have more respect for himself than what he did to even allow himself to be treated like that. Do you know that the words that I'm speaking to you right now, in truth, about 95% of the time, whenever I got into an argument or a disagreement with him, I can tell you that the nature of our conversation always would go something along these lines, where I would be speaking to him of something that I'm observing and what it's causing me to think on and come to mind. And when I look at things, and the way I'm speaking to you, this kind of talk and this language, the language of truth, I guess, I don't know, was very difficult for him to comprehend. So he knew that he was purposely going to go out or after women that were crazy, and most likely not just crazy, but had issues with addiction. And not only that, but it didn't matter if they were an active prostitute or not. He'll worry about that later when the time comes. So basically what I'm telling you is he had very, very, very low standards when it came to women, okay? Very low standards. I mean, anyone could have passed through the fucking door, as long as you let him be God in your life. Well, needless to say, I had a huge problem with that. And because I stood up for myself, and because I called out a lot of the behaviors that I noted with him. And yes, I'm going to tell you something. Yes, I was captive and being held like a hostage for the last 3.5 years by him. Oh, how? Well, you got out now, didn't you? Yeah, I did. And do you know when the last time I saw Micah Kincaid was? It was on the same day that I literally took him when he was trying to get back into my car, and I floored it with the gas pedal and I started to drive, and I grabbed him by the neck, by the shirt of his neck, and I fucking tossed him out backwards out of my fucking car. And if I would have ran him over that day, I would have ran him over and I would have kept driving. Now, is that healthy? Is that love? Oh, wait. Let's not get it twisted now. Now, of course that's not love. And you were the one that threw him out. So maybe he loved you, but you obviously didn't love him. Well, he made it very difficult and downright nearly impossible. I'll tell you one thing that he did get, though. I loved him enough to tell him the truth. Galatians. All right? So there you go. But boy, oh boy, it wasn't even that hard sometimes. I mean, really. Do you know, like, the most simplest of love that you can show somebody, honestly, is to be truthful with them. But what good is it to be truthful with somebody that's going to information hunt to fulfill their own wicked imaginations and their own aha. And what good is it if they take stuff and information that they may have found and then they twist and contort it into all kinds of shit that ain't even true? Or they just assume. I mean, that's not good either. But, so, yes, we've established some things here. Now let's jump back a little bit. So, Mr. Kincaid sought out after mentally deficient, or what's the right word? Mentally unstable women to mate up with. Why? Because he had very low standards. Why? Because he didn't think high of himself at all. He thought he was a piece of shit. He didn't think he could get any woman that was worth a dime or worth a damn. So he didn't even really bother. And he told me he wasn't going to really bother with me. Well, I really wasn't going to even bother with him. I thought he was a cult member at first when he said, I see you know my daughter and my wife. And I thought, well, this guy's got to be a cult member because who else would I have as mother and daughter? Or whatever. It wasn't mother and daughter. But they both were related with him. So when he informed me of who they were, oh, okay. All right, now we're talking about a totally different group of people. Certainly not cult members. All right? Which leads me to the other thing. The perfect bait. I mean, right from the start. What was the nature of the foundation that was being laid in this newly forming relationship that is occurring right now? Well, let's see. Let's go back. You have a man who's about 59 years old. He's past the state of the midlife crisis. Now he's more at an end of the life crisis. And now the reality and everything becomes that much more overwhelming and overbearing because things, I mean, he spent a lot of time filling his mind up with a lot of unnecessary evils per se. And he did not spend any time that I can really recall, except I will go back and I will give credit to where credit is due. I'm probably the closest thing to God that man had ever met or had, or was even, could say, was a friend to, because at one time, first and foremost, I actually considered him a friend. And you know, it was when I first met him, and the illusion is so bright at that point in time. And I not only met him, I met two of his friends as well that night. And I started, when I was going home after that, you know, I couldn't understand, but I started to tear up almost. Like, I didn't know why I was getting upset. Surely I would see all of them again. I had a great time. I thought they were lovely, you know? Got along great, a lot of laughs. I thought, yeah, he might be a troubled guy, but he could also be misunderstood. You know, I'm just going to say, there was something in him that I saw where I could fully understand how he had some friends, how he appeared to be a very kind and generous man, how he appeared to be somebody that would help out a friend, especially a friend in need, or help out one of his friends that was a female. You know, because on that basis, when it's kept with, like, on a plateau of platonic, okay, sure. He's probably great. I mean, what was the beginning of this video that I said? I said he has friends out there that would literally choose him over God to be friends with. Why? Because to them, I mean, he would have been a better friend and a better companion than God. And that's just the truth. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Now, when I first met him, like I said, I mean, if I didn't see something that was decent, I wouldn't have been able to spend so much time speaking with him the way I did. But, you know, it's really funny how people can present themselves and they can be a totally different entity. And then what happens is there's something else that comes in and takes over. And let's just put it this way. If you are the type of person, if the way you deal with your heartache and your trauma is by either getting under or on top of or into some sort of ship with somebody else, especially like right away, or, you know, you don't even really have time to like find yourself again. And look at, I was the person that did that before I met God. And when I met Micah, I told him straight out I did not want a relationship. I was not going to be good for him. I told him, I said, I will be like poison to you. And I said, this is a rebound thing on your behalf. I said, but do you know what that means for me? I said, for me, that means not only if when I disappoint you, it's not just going to be me letting you down. It's going to be everything and everyone that you ever knew, even before me. Because you didn't heal, spend time, or consider, or even take into account the ailments that you are even afflicted with that have you acting in certain ways and making you do the things that you do, the way you do them. So, with that being said, now you got a man that is incessant on not taking no for an answer, will not, I mean, just downright ignores your desires, your wants. There was a lot of false promises made. There was, and let's just go back. Before I knew it, my stuff's getting moved from my dad's house. Before I knew it, there's a whole conspiracy going on that I should be with Micah, that I need to live and be over there with Micah. And you know what? Imagine the confusion that was going on in my mind at that time, because even my dad thought, and that's a whole other story that I'll have to get into. But let's just put it this way. Things aren't always as they appear, but I definitely noted in my dad before he passed how ever since I moved out of the house and has been with Micah, I had noted that my dad started looking like he was ailing, like he was afflicted. His deteriorating physically, like he looked sick. Yet he didn't complain until finally when he just downright got so sick and he ended up having to go to the hospital. And anyway, he passed shortly after. Well, geez, I guess from being wearied out by Micah incessantly trying to get him or telling him or showing him about another, wearying him out with the fact that he was purposely inciting mental breakdowns to occur with me so he could at the same time record them, turn around and use it as more evidence against me to get me committed and to be able, yes, and to be able to say that, look what she's doing again. Well, can you imagine the stress that alone put on my 72-year-old, 72, 73, going on 74-year-old father during those years, during that time that was occurring? No wonder he was losing so much weight. And then there was the whole, oh, I want to make sure that you get to your dad's house more, because obviously my dad's getting elderly. Somebody's got to help him out over there. Okay, well, let's just say that everything that he told me that he either wanted for me or wanted me to do or was going to try to see that it was done, let's just say that the actions were the exact opposite. So basically, I got to my dad's less and less. So now I'm being isolated. Not just that, I'm all the way up 45 minutes outside of where I used to live. And I don't know anybody. And now I'm also not seeing my girlfriends the way I used to. And I actually did try to keep them close. In fact, I even had one that was living in the house with me. Oh, and here's the other funny thing. How many of you that are his friends, how many of yous heard already about that girlfriend of mine who used to live there with us and stay, and about how she took $2,500? And how many of yous heard that I also was involved with that and that I had to have had something to do with that or no more? And how many of yous, it don't matter really, but how many of yous, just ask yourselves, agreed with him that, yeah, you could really see that occurring and that I probably really did do that. You might even still believe it to this day. And if you do, hallelujah. Whatever. But again, why would you even want somebody living with you, staying with you, that you call your significant other, that you say you love and you deeply care for? Number one, how many times was I committed that past year to the mental hospital? It was ridiculous. I mean, absolutely absurd. And yet, I'm the one who's crazy, right? Okay. You get what I'm saying, though. I do pray that whoever does have ears to hear can really hear underneath it all that what I'm doing is I'm going to shine the light and I'm going to paint a picture for you of, through my eyes, what I saw and what it appears and what I felt was occurring during the time that I knew him, okay? And the reason that I'm even doing this is because there has been so much clatter occurring. And when you got a group of individuals that are very big on what's going on with other people, Can you imagine the talk that's probably been occurring? I mean, one thing's for darn sure, he certainly did go out with a bang now, didn't he? No, I'm not trying to make jokes and make fun of or light of even, but I mean, honestly, if you can't find humor even in the darkest of things, then sucks to be you, really. It does. Yeah. Because he didn't really take his life too seriously now, and even consider the fact that he had people that actually cared for him even more than they cared for God. But do you want to know what? See, me, personally, I cared and liked God a lot more than I cared for and liked him. And I already felt that he had imposed on me, did not take me seriously. It was almost like he claimed me. And there were times that I felt, well, what else am I going to do? But, you know, let me see, you know, maybe I'm supposed to. Well, so, hey, we gave it a try. And during the time that we gave him a try, I loved him enough to tell him the truth, even when I did things that were against him. But again, that's what's supposed to occur. That's what he enjoyed. Do you understand? The man was also so troubled to the point that he was literally a sadist masochist, okay? And there was other things, but if you really know him, you might know that he had a thing for being degraded and spoken to very nastily by women. And if he didn't tell you about it, he certainly did tell me. The only catch to that is he enjoyed it at certain times. What he did not seem to grasp was that the way he's wired and the nature of his personality, he literally created circumstances and situations that literally caused me to become that very cruel, mean, horrible, wretched woman. And yet, he really liked that. I mean, that turned him on. He was unable to have a healthy relationship or marriage. Do you understand that? He was incapable. Like, he has 2 friends that he's been friends with, and both of those friends have been married for a very long time. In fact, it's those 2 friends that I'm speaking of. I told him one time I would think he was the most horrible, evil man ever, but it's only because of some of the friends that, like I said, his friends prefer him over God. Okay? He's popular and very well liked to his friends. And I told him it was only because of the fact that, like, there are certain people that I have met and I had liked. And, you know, so, like, certainly his friends that I'm referring to, they are what, from the outside looking in, I would say they are what a healthy marriage of 2 people that really love each other looks like, okay? And how a wife would usually be. And I've never seen them disagree or get in any fights, or whenever I was there. And she was always in a pleasant mood. And so that's, what I'll say on that. But we'll jump back. So he was, even though he had friends that seemed like they were capable of being able to be in these unions with people and not have that much drama besides the usual, whatever. He was incapable. And let me just tell you, even if he would have been able to, he did not, nor would have wanted to do it any other way other than the way he was. He had absolutely no interest in changing or doing anything different. In fact, another thing that he tried and that he needed, and this was what was fought against the most, was, see, he needed me to be in a certain state of mind where I would actually believe that he should be some sort of authoritative head over me because, and based off of blah, blah, blah. But what I viewed with him was such a disturbed, troubled Nephilim force at play, which is an evil spirit that's like now inside of a man's body, void of human emotion and pretty much mimicking what appears to be normal and healthy and good depending on the situation and the circumstance, but a completely different creation behind closed doors. Okay? All right. And like I said, you are entitled to have whatever feelings you want towards me. That's fine. But I'm going to take this opportunity because, like, if my name is going to be associated with his, and if it's going to be spoken of, I'm going to put it like this. I at least would appreciate if before you continue, you would at least hear out my side of the story so you can either A, get your facts straight when you actually go and tell it, or B, maybe revise what you thought or were told previously because it might be misinformation and it may not be accurate or true. And maybe perhaps even some of the things you thought, well, maybe from the outside looking in, but when you actually start to get to the meat and potatoes of it, you find out, oh, well, I didn't know about that. Or, yeah, I could see that, but I really wasn't sure. I wasn't aware. Or I'll admit, that's really unhealthy. Like, okay, for those people, especially for the people that are so indignant on stating how much he really loved and cared for me. Imagine, if you will, that you were me and in some of the things that you either heard about or you witnessed firsthand or saw that I dealt with him that frustrated me and drove me to anger or drove me to come out of character and become that horrendously cruel woman. And again, he wouldn't have wanted that any other way. He wouldn't have known. Doesn't know how to handle a good woman. Like, a good woman makes him have to feel some type of way too much, okay? He doesn't feel free to prance about and be, we'll just say, okay? He feels a little bit like he has to go out now and do this and do that and do things like by the right way. And then the right way becomes too much of a burden because we're so used to doing shit that what? And who told him to go out and lose everything when he got that third DUI? Do you know why he got a third DUI? Because he found out my location, even though I had my phone off, and wasn't supposed to even know or come near me. But he was out there in the parking lot waiting for me when I came out. And, maybe I didn't have my loins girded up with truth in the first place that I didn't say to the cop. And I wasn't even thinking, hey, this guy's not even supposed to be here. But I'm trying to be merciful because, there was a lot of, like I said, there was a lot of Stockholm Syndrome at play, which takes us back to that. Stockholm Syndrome is when you have somebody that they become and place themselves and impose themselves on you in some sort of way that they start to have total dominion over all aspects of your life, okay? And at the same time, it works on like a reward punishment system as well. But because these people become your all in all, okay, because you don't have friends anymore, and now they're distributing out money or they're watching what you buy, or they'll give you little gifts, but if you act up, they'll be sure to take them back, but because they're buying the food, they're putting a roof over your head, you feel also at the same time, despite all the fuckery, you feel an endearment to them. It's a trauma bond, people. It's a bond from a dark place. It's not a healthy thing. Not at all. And again, the reason I'm even making this is because I'm going to at least educate, if you will, because I'm going to just say, it's not even me educating you, but it is the spirit that is in me that wants to speak the truth to you. And if you learn from it, hallelujah. Because I'll tell you, life is very serious. It is a serious thing, and we just do not have the right, nor are we entitled to place ourselves into another person's life or existence to go out of our way to cause harm or their destruction while we just run off about as we normally do. Or they don't care about how their actions and what their intentions and what they're really trying to accomplish and do are for sadistic reasons. And yet, you present it yourself, I'm going to say, definitely as strange and sadistic. And like I said, what a lesson, because boy, oh boy, this is what I'm charged with to do. This is testimony that I've been granted because of this. But I bear this on my back, okay? Because this is a serious, and what happened should not have to happen. So if the people see the warning signs, they stand not as dumb and keep their fucking mouths shut, but they actually do something to see to it that somebody doesn't even get either entangled in such a dysfunctional road to destruction